on insanity. But you know, if they do want to leave, they'll be fine. Okay, right.
Wait, I could have sworn there was lights here. I don't know. So I wanted to get
lights in the pool.
Oh yeah, they are. Okay, this is actually sick.
It's actually really nice. That's really cool. Like the resort pool doesn't have lights in it. That's pretty cool. That's sick.
You know Tilly, right?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Right.
How's it going?
It's going.
So I wanted to get your take on that conversation, and mostly because you were in the past administration, and I think, you know, I value your opinion. So
Thank you. So on what, like the Den Act, or like the press conference?
Just the whole thing of what you heard went down.
I saw some stuff on Twitter.
Yeah.
And my take, oh God. One, let me just start with looking at the legislation. I saw the legislation. And my first thought was, why would a justice who is, to my knowledge, never been a lawyer write this legislation without speaking to a single lawyer? We did not need this legislated. We did not need our ability to negotiate legislated. Because now when things are specifically there, if it's not fucking there, I'm not going to be able to do shit with it.
Oh my,
literally just fucking skimping us.
Thank you. Yes, please continue.
And there are things that did not need to be legislated. The fact that this reading the legislation, this was clearly not discussed with somebody who has been actively practicing law within the last 8 fucking years. Okay, because we have tried the time off coupon thing before, and we know that it doesn't work, and it just murders not just the judiciary, but the Department of Justice as a whole. We end up with less lawyers signing on because they feel devalued as people when they're only reduced to time off coupons.
Yep.
Also, the fact of the matter is that when you legislate something like this, it removes selective enforcement for something like gun planting season. Gun planting season again is probably going to be upon us based on this fucking bullshit. Because there's no selective enforcement to tell when something has obviously been planted. If it's been taken away from them, which is what this legislation looks like it's doing.
What if I were to tell you, I don't know how much of the timeline you picked up. I didn't give all the details. This started off of incident yesterday, and I'm going to be rather transparent. LSPD, whether it's PETA's, whether it's Daisy, whether it's myself, I've been kind of the target of this bullshit for like a minute. And you know, it's like some of this stuff, there's no like evidence for it, but like, Siobhan, you know, I've been around for a minute. You know what I mean? You can smell shit like a fucking mile away, right? And but we've been kind of like, we'll only talk about it like internally, or if I need votes or whatever, you know, those who need to know basis type shit. But this was like the latest like knee-jerk sort of reaction where Peters was chewed out over making a decision, and then right after he asked the question, now I wasn't there, I heard some of this is narrated by multiple officers. Well, in the presence of 10 other officers, he asks, where does it say this in legislation? The justice started flipping out, right? And ended it with, I'm going to file an injunction preventing you from doing X, Y, and Z, and God knows fucking what. Subsequently, a member of Blaine County leaked to the public what was happening, that the angel was behind it, and immediately there was a tweet. You know, I know that this was written out of nowhere, because immediately afterwards is when she started writing it, because I called her shortly afterwards when the insinuation that me and Andy had control of these sliders and not her. Do you see what I'm saying? Misdirection. And I caught that. Luckily, I was around. I saw that shit. So I give a call. I'm like, what the fuck is this about? And I said it very cordially, you know, trying to understand. The answer was, and I tried to pin her on this, and she doesn't like this, is I said, is what the PD was doing, was it illegal? She wouldn't answer the question for like 5 to 10 minutes. You know why, right?
I mean, tell me your thoughts. I mean, I have my idea, but
because if she makes a stance, if she's on the wrong side of the stance, she could be culpable.
Mm. Yeah, that's why a lot of people fence sit, is because they don't want to fucking pick a side. But
Eventually,
you know,
that's
silence is complicit.
yes. So I went on to explain how there was sliders. Well, she told me, Andy's got one, I got one. Inherently knowing that it was statewide. Otherwise, you get what I'm saying? Like, she wouldn't know that detail. And I then said, you know, I was told not to touch this, or it doesn't work. I don't remember which of the two, which is why I didn't touch it, ever. And now I'm being told publicly on Twitter that I control this shit, as does Andy. Right? So now I got to go defend myself. Right? And this is aside from what I had to spitball in my mouth, which was, you know, I did chew on, is like, do I tell the public that this shit is happening? Because now it's a public concern, right? There are fines and times going around, and I got to be involved. She told me after asking 4 or 5 times that, yes, I can change it, and it's an honor if I do. Right? If anyone gives me shit. I move it down. Now I make an announcement. She calls back, says to put it back. I'm like, why? Now she's like, as soon as everyone's like, oh, hooray, you know, the times are down, is you got to put it back. Why? Oh, I didn't know it was statewide. I didn't call her out right then and there because I wanted her to keep digging. Because she knew already. You get what I'm saying? Like, and she's like, are you, and I asked her, I'm like, are you asking me to do this or are you telling me to do it? Because now I don't know if a justice...
the court order, it's different, right?
Yes.
Totally. Is this official? Is this like a court order from a judge?
Yes.
Right? Because you don't want to fall afoul of that. Totally.
And every statement, like you said, was very fence city. I knew that. That's why I kept pressing. She said it wasn't. But I should talk to Andy first. And I said, yeah, I'll give her a call. But, you know, right now I kind of feel like 50% seems right. You know what I mean? Like, and that was kind of my way of like, take your fucking hand off my keyboard. You know what I mean? Like, what is this? You know? Especially right after I make a public announcement. You know what I mean? Like, what are you playing? Like, you think I'm gonna fucking, like, burn my entire political career because you're doing this dumb shit? Fuck out of here. So, I then start seeing on Twitter someone, Ventura guy, tweeting out, cops are now worth one across. I'm like, what the fuck? How does he know? And then he goes, quit playing with the sliders. So I look up on the MDT. I find out, hey, all the charges are getting updated automatically. So I'm like, okay, let me go, like, you know, there might be concerns or whatever. Let me go take a photo of these things in case something's off base, right? And mind you, my thought isn't even for a second about dead cops. It's like, all these people are about to go to jail for 800 months over a single shootout, which is what happens. At least give them a bone. You know what I mean? Like, I'm watching, right? Like, and all of a sudden I notice that some of the charges didn't make sense anymore. It's at 50%, but the Marshall revolver is 50,000 still. And the LEO attack is still where it is. So I called back.
The Fed never fixed anything to do with that.
No.
Because that's been an issue
Angel
since
admitted
Max's
she
term.
changed it to counter my 50%.
Now that's interesting. So
Yes.
the department, the penal code has always fallen underneath the sole purview of the Department of Justice. Now, whether or not the Department of Justice should have control of the ability to legislate at will, the penal code, an executive branch, and the judicial branch, you know, is a different question entirely.
Yep.
Just because it's written in the Constitution doesn't mean that it's not fundamentally wrong.
Yep. You know, and here's where it gets juicy. And I try to keep it simple in the you know, little public thing. But she then said that she did it because she's getting phone calls from multiple people, quote unquote, that cops are worth one across. No, what happened is this one cop that keeps posting on Twitter, who probably leaked out this stuff to begin with, called you, you freaked out, and you changed it because you thought it was right. Didn't notice anyone. And so when I asked, why did you change that? And she said that, I'm like, listen, there's a funeral. Let's meet back in an hour, right after the funeral. We'll go talk about it, and we'll adjust. She said, no, I'm going to keep it where it is. Unless you change it back. What does this start to sound like to you? And then I asked, why can't we wait? I'm not going to be here. I say, can you change it back so that we can put it after that conversation, set it properly? Because if I set it back to 100% at 125 where it was, and all of a sudden there's going to be charges that are fucking like 3x. Answer is no. I really need you to change it back. I need you to change it back. Say, are you ordering me? No, I'm asking you to put it back. I'm asking you. After like probably the 10th iteration, I'm telling you to do it. And so that's when I'm like, you know what? You know, the Nino people know and love. I said, I had enough. I asked her, do you ever fucking use any logic when you're making decisions? And then it went sideways. So, yeah.
I'm gonna be honest, Nino, it sounds like a constitutional crisis.
Yeah.
Because those are powers given to you, but you know, the DOJ does have, like, right, technically, like, the authority to set whatever they want with the penal code. From my understanding, the mayor was then given the ability to just slightly lessen or slightly, you know, higher it, right, by like a percentage basis, which should just be understood to be inherent within the mayor's powers. I feel like people are doing a lot of
Do you know, you remember, you were
Boromir shit, bunch of fucking corrupt stealing the ring shit. So what are we gonna say?
Do you remember Soze's case? And I know you're going to feel a certain way about it, but I'm going to ask you.
Yeah, the man who, like, interrogated me in a torture room where I was tortured.
Oh my God, wait, what?
Yeah, it's on the docket.
See, I mostly go to court cases.
See, it hasn't come out yet. Yeah, but I'll just say, yeah, I knew that the torture had begun when Soze walked in the room and began grilling me about the Constitution.
Wait. What the fuck?
You didn't know about this? Yeah. Yeah. Yep,
There's
he's a marshal now, and they
a
vacated his treason judgment after he helped participate in my torture.
there is a possibility that I had heard about it, but it's like one of those things, like, you know,
It's
where
just shocking.
I could have heard it from, like, so much shit was going on that I could have heard it from passing, but it was like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, totally. Totally. I find it crazy that the same judges who found him guilty of a capital level crime then admitted that they got it wrong and vacated the judgment. Because now,
Yeah.
how can we trust them on anything? We can't. Because they got it wrong on a capital level crime, allegedly, right?
Yeah.
How can we trust them now?
My concern comes down to is where does their authority begin and where does it end when you mix them in with the marshals? You know, all the shit, Siobhan, I heard about you and Max, just transparently, it's like manifested itself into one individual. That's how I see it.
What do you mean?
You don't know what
Like you're
people...
getting one guide?
No, that
I was confused.
you and
'Cause
Max was
and I
some
got
kind
one
of...
guide.
What is that?
One guy says something and then just fucking taunts us and we go off, even though the rest of the people didn't agree with that. That one guy said something and it just
Listen,
really
let's
pissed
not
us
break-
off and rubbed us the wrong way.
Wait.
One person.
Wait, who? Wait, what?
Just like at town halls, whenever we would just get one guide and just like go off.
Oh, yeah. No, I was
You know
thinking...
what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, no, I'm talking more about the absolute power into a singular entity.
Oh, right. Everybody complained about us having too much power when we literally had to whip votes and get multiple people
Right.
on board. But now Angel has all the power we had and more all combined and wrapped up into one person.
Correct.
Total and utter supreme dictatorship.
Yeah. And that's kind of where I wanted to get your opinion on all this, which is am I cooked with this thought?
Are you cooked with that thought?
Am I cooked to think that this
no.
is fucking not the antithesis of a democracy? The reason I bring up Soze's name is, did we not, was the argument
Right.
not to write a new constitution because everything needs to be constitutional, but it's not even referenced anymore.
Yeah, I'll be real. I mean, yeah. So like that whole thing that happened. The new constitution is not good. It is bad, right? Giving legislative authority and enforcement of laws to the Department of Justice. Who the fuck? I mean, I wasn't there when this was done, but I kind of wish I had been in the room because I would have told people how fucking stupid a fusion of power is and how it's inherently undemocratic, how it's inherently
So help
fascist.
me fix it.
I'm gonna be real. Was that Bill Mays there today? I really hate him, Nino.
You told me he's not going to be in the same room as you.
Okay, good, because I really
He
fucking
doesn't show
hate
up to
him.
work that often. Listen,
Good.
I get a lot of shit sometimes for bringing people in my circle. All right. But that's because I don't really judge unless they do something that neat. You know what I'm saying? I'll take fucking stray dogs. You know what I'm saying? I'm like the person who just lets anyone in their house.
Bill Mays was removed from the Department of Justice for upskirting me repeatedly in the courthouse, so I'm not a fan of him and I don't want to be around him. That's my issue with him. So
Wait, what do you mean? Like, what I think you mean?
Yes.
All right, he's gone.
Thank you. Okay. Great. In that case, I will. Yeah. You got me. I will help because I can't. Angel's never reached out to me. She didn't reply to any of my fucking texts. Okay. Not a single fucking one.
Yeah.
About the FOIAs. Okay. You know, I had a longer conversation with you
Can
about
I put a
FOIA
disclaimer?
than anybody else. Nobody else cared.
He's off the cabinet. He's gonna stay away, but I can't shoot the dog in the head. You know what I mean?
I understand.
Yeah.
I understand, but
all right. I just want to be clear so there's no like confusion. He's not gonna touch legislation and all that. I'm gonna have a chat with him.
Okay. Good.
Yeah.
Thank you. We need to do a legislative audit of the actual Constitution.
Yeah.
You know?
That's exactly what I'm thinking. Because it's kind of, I'm looking at this puzzle in like a number of different angles. And the thing is, I'm sure you're aware, you know, legislation keeps changing over and over and over again. And I mean, you saw in that meeting, if I ask the city to take arms, it's going to be fucking July 3rd easy. You know what I mean? I don't want that.
Right.
I've been that guy before. That doesn't solve anything. I want to make sure that people can see that things can be done right.
Like through the legislative process,
Yeah.
actually going through and using the tools that are available to us.
Precisely.
Can we impeach a justice?
Yep. But there's only two people that fit the criteria.
Who?
Kale Soze and Brian Knight.
Wait, for what?
For her position.
I mean, personally, I'm just gonna disagree with you. I think Kale Soze did not pass 5th grade American civics.
Yeah, but have you seen the requirements?
I don't think you can. Oh, that's really funny. I'm sorry. Oh.
No, that wasn't a joke. I'm saying, like, do you know what I'm referencing or no?
No, what are you referencing? I'm like,
oh wait, you
what
don't.
are you talking about?
Where is it?
Is it like the judicial election process or?
I think it's the Angel one.
Oh God, there's. Was it? Are you talking about like where the requirements are for a justice, or are you talking about requirements for impeachment review?
Here, let me see. I copied all this into a thing. Let me
Okay.
search it real quick.
Okay.
Um, I forgot where it is. Is it veteran?
Right. So any sitting mayor justice. So
There's something in
you
there
impeach a
which
justice, and then
says
what happens? A judge hears it.
there's something in there where you got to be like a war hero and all kinds of shit.
Well, I don't see that anywhere. To be a justice, Bailey's not a war hero. He hasn't even done law
Oh,
work or judge work except for 4 court cases over the last 9 years. That man doesn't do anything, and he's a justice. He's also borderline in his grave. He's decrepit.
oh, I think it might be under definition. Marshals must have experience with law enforcement, corrective, or
Oh,
work. There was
marshals.
something else in there. Fuck, I can't find it though. But it was some shit about like, I don't know.
I heard the marshals used to have the ability to do bench trials too, so they could be judge, jury, and an executioner. All in one.
Yeah. I don't think generally the system needs to be torn apart. And that's kind of the big thing, right? Like, is there holes in the Constitution? 100%. But I think reviews of that, I think starting with, you know what the biggest thing that could come into this Constitution is that it requires an in-person hearing. That's it.
I feel like there should be
Like congressional
something,
hearing. You know what I mean?
right? I was thinking about like, so there's like in the large United States, right? They do a constitutional convention. If they want to amend the Constitution, you have to get a minimum quorum number of votes in order to do that
Yeah.
amongst representatives. Or you have to get a minimum number of states that have all passed like the same sort of thing to their state constitution in order to get it passed for like constitutionally for federal, right? There's like
Yeah.
2 different ways to do that. Um, we don't have anything like that because we don't have an actual representative democracy. We've got 1 elected position, right? And then everything else is pretty much appointed. I'm sorry, 3 elected positions, 2 elected judge positions, which are lower and subject to the whims of a justice, right? Who could theoretically just fire them because there's nothing giving them that job protection. There's no job protection anywhere. And then everybody else is appointed, which is pretty much just like a fascist oligarchy.
Something along those lines
There's
would
not
be
enough
really and I think
democracy.
this is what needs to start getting explored. And I'm gonna let you cook on it for a bit. I'm gonna cook on it as well, and maybe we
Okay.
relink sometime tomorrow.
Okay. All right. Sounds good.
And
Yeah, I'll cook. I'll think about it. See what the options are. We can come back together tomorrow and figure it out.
yeah, obviously, at the end of the day, I want what's best for Los Santos and San Andreas as a whole. You know, I look at this problem as beyond political. You know, like I said this in the meeting. I got nothing to lose. Impeach me tomorrow. I don't give a fuck. You know what I mean? I took this job out of a feeling of necessity, and if you know someone else has got to do it, someone else doesn't do it. You know what I'm saying? So you know, I'm at that. It takes whatever it takes kind of mood. So
I appreciate that. I
yeah,
do, because sometimes you have to try things a new way to figure stuff out,
yeah.
and I feel like there's a lot of people who are not willing to try things a new way, Nino, and I appreciate the fact that you are open and progressive in that way, because I mean, I feel like right now with our current government, I feel like we reverted back to the old republic.
During
Even
Coop's time,
post or even yeah,
yeah.
Coop's time. I feel like we just reverted back to Coops, and
The thing
I'm
is,
not a
Coop.
fan of that.
I remember. Coop. The thing is, though, you can't Coop, or as he used to call Kim Jong Coop. He had a semblance of. He'd do wild shit, but it was very, very rare. You know what I'm saying?
Right, but the power that he had to do so, you know what I'm talking about? That's what I mean when I say
Yeah.
I feel like we reverted back to that. We reverted back to giving justices or judges like this ultimate authority over the entire fucking government.
You're talking about Coop, and then it came. Who came after him?
Labar.
Labar. I like
Hmm.
Labar.
I liked Labar too, but
Yeah.
that doesn't change the fact that those judges had pretty much carte blanche over the entire
Mm.
fucking government.
Yeah.
And we had something different, and then we went back to that. I don't understand why democracy is so feared. Because the judges are seeming to act out of a way, almost spite, almost petty revenge. To me, and maybe it's just because of what Norman said to me, they were so mad about that pardoning legislation that they have seized ultimate and total power for themselves. And you know who suffers as a result of that?
Mm.
The people.
Yeah.
The people.
I think there is a reason for some of that. And as a ex-criminal myself, I mean, you probably know. You've probably defended me at some point.
Uh-huh.
You know, most of the city are felons.
A lot. There's a lot. But there's also there's a decent amount of civilians, so numbers are smaller than they used to be. But that's also a two-pronged problem, you know? Businesses have taken so long to get off the ground that many civilians have been forced or have felt forced into a life of crime to make ends meet because businesses... I still can't bill to my business. It is 10 months since the city reopened.
It's coming soon.
I don't think we should look around at civs and say, right, the civilian population or even the felon population, right, and tell them that it's their problem when poverty literally creates crime. And no offense, but the Fed created this situation by fucking off on infrastructure for so long.
Listen, the Fed's like me,
I'm so tired of being their scapegoat. I'm not going to do it anymore. I'm going to be honest about like what is the Fed and what is not me.
They got me recycling. You see this here? Yeah.
I did notice that with the trash cans.
Yeah, that's right.
Ballin'.
Yeah. So I don't know. I think you're gonna be surprised in the next coming weeks. But none of that matters if legislation's all fucked up.
If we can't solve the constitutional crisis, it doesn't matter. Anything you do, Nino, is just gonna be hampered by a DOJ that can do whatever they want with carte blanche.
I don't know.
Because who watches the Watchmen, right, Nino? If you want to sue the Department of Justice, who hears the lawsuit? The Department of Justice. The DOJ heard a lawsuit against themselves and found no wrongdoing. It's not entirely unlike fucking Richard Dark's IA, toothless and useless.
Jesus fucking Christ. I didn't know too much about that.
Oh, you don't? Okay, just trust me when I say Richard Dark was the most useless IA. He's a marshal, right?
Doc has been, I'm going to be honest with you, the only marshal that has picked up my phone call and taken something serious.
Grayson.
DJ as well, but she's a cop now.
She's a cop now, yeah.
Yeah.
Honestly, good for her. She should be out there patrolling. I think that's what she likes.
So
I've been able to get a hold of like a few marshals. I'm very upset with Nathaniel Grayson, but that's a different matter.
Yeah, I got my pet peeves with him.
Pressing death on Pipsqueak on the docket.
I mean, you know.
Pip hasn't done anything worse than anybody else has done in this city. People charged with the same crimes served half the time that she's already served.
Doesn't that kind of make the argument for why things are all over the place? Wait, why does he get the, you know? I don't know.
Yes.
Fuck me.
Yes. Yes.
It just fucking pisses me off
I'm so
that
fucking
this is
angry about
even
it.
an issue. You get what I'm saying?
There's no consistency, and then more so than all of that, there's no equality and justice under the law when certain people are granted specific privileges and others aren't. And it makes the mockery of the entire justice system for me to try to fucking do my job when I know, because I haven't been shown any proof to the contrary, that there are two tiers of justice.
I think this is the angle of approach, right? Bloodshed is not it. Destabilization is not it. But showing an alternative, doing it the right way, and packing that fucking courtroom.
I agree.
In fact, even if it comes down to it, no one wants to take it up, well, maybe the courtroom gets packed anyways and people demand a judge.
Peters keeps trying to get me to become a justice.
I will tell you what I recommended a couple days ago. Is I actually want to start the Los Santos County. I want to get magistrates for the county, And the immediate answer was, well, it's going to fall under the DOJ. And immediately I was like, you know what I told myself? I'm like, motherfuckers, you can barely keep up with shit. Like, let us cook a little. You know what I mean? Get your hand off my fucking wheel. Is that bad? You know what I'm saying?
They grabbing the wheel from the back seat.
Yeah, fucking up my ass, out my mouth, onto the fucking steering wheel type shit. I ain't surprised why we crashing.
Totally.
Yeah, but the reason I bring that up, right, is you know, if the people are behind it, right, and I use tax as an example. Yeah, I rolled it back. I had reason to, but I got tax passed. People will, even if it's not in their 100% benefit, if they see and are shown why it's good for everybody, people will back it.
Yes and no, because propaganda is incredibly effective, Nino. Propaganda is incredibly effective.
Well, I mean, that's why I'm here. You know what I mean? Anyways, Siobhan, I got to dip. I wasn't expecting to be.
This was a good chat.
Yeah.
Sorry it took so long.
No, you're good.
I got into a concussion earlier and I lost my accent for like 10 minutes. It was horrible.
Jesus fucking
Otherwise,
Christ.
I would have been here sooner. I know. I was talking like this. People were so fucking weirded out. They thought it was like the craziest thing.
Yeah. Look, if anyone gives you shit about working with me, whatever, feel free to send them my way. You know what I mean?
I will.
All right.
Thanks, Nino. I appreciate it. All right,
that.
this is Carmine calling. I bet she's another cell rep. Hi, Carmine.
All right. You take care. What's going on, Gary?
Hey, how you doing, Mr. Mayor? Quick question for you.
Mm-hmm.
Good to hear. I went ahead and I called who I thought